Hi, this is a video on the Intro to Confidence Intervals by JB Statistics video that was assigned on the Google Classroom. At 2:55 in the video, we're told that the p-hat is 0.43, and that's a sample proportion trying to throw a dart and find out what the true population proportion is for the approval rating. Now at 427, we're given that the poll is accurate to within 0.03 percent, if you turn it into percent, 3%, and this is if we did the same thing 20 times, 19 times, it would actually have the right population proportion. And that's the kind of challenge here in the statistical thinking when we're doing statistical inference. So the 0.03 was given to us, but in our problems, we'll need to calculate that value. This is a skill in Chapter 19. It's calculating the margin of error. And really, it's taking from the central limit theorem, the square root of instead of P and Q, it's P hat and Q hat, because that's what we got from the sample, divided by the sample size. Now, you have to remember, we're not using P and Q because we don't know what the population proportions are. So that's why we're using the P hat. And then to get the margin of error, you have to use the Z-score depending on your confidence of interval. So that's the other thing also. The confidence of interval, the 95%, that's something that we will choose or we'll be told to use. And a lot of times it's 95% or 90% or even 99%. But it could be others too. Okay, it's just a matter of how confident you want to be. And I'm going to talk about what that confidence means in a little bit. So for now, since we're given the margin of error, we can create the confidence interval. And so that confidence interval is going to be your p hat minus the margin of error and your p hat plus the margin of error. And so this is our confidence interval. So we're saying 95% confident that the true population proportion will be within that interval. Now, why 95%? So page 442 to 443 in the textbook is a good reference to answer this question. And this is a very good question, okay? Because this is statistical inferencing. And, it's not something that's just kind of real easy to grasp. So here's what we're thinking. In the video, the speaker, he tries to emphasize this at 440. When one says that we have a 95% confidence interval of 40 to 46, we are declaring that 95% of the intervals constructed using the method described in the video with the same sample size n will capture, contain, or include the true population proportion. And this is very important in how you say these things and how you write these things. And I'll be providing some more information about that. But if you look in the textbook, what you're going to want to be looking at here is on page 441. So page 441, this is important right here to make sure you kind of read through there and have an understanding of what is the statements that we can say and that we can write to correctly answer the question. So if you would imagine that green vertical line is the true population proportion that we're looking for. And so we go out and we go get a sample. And from that sample, we get a sample proportion. And then we use our calculations to get the margin of error. And then we create that interval. Well, here's 20 intervals. 20 pink horizontal lines. Do you notice how I've numbered 5 of them that did not capture it? So that's why we say we are 95% confident. It's not a probability. We don't want to say that it's a probability because it's not a probability. It is a indicator for statistical inferencing for people who know this knowledge, who have this knowledge, for them to understand that there's a whole context behind it. And the context behind that is that, okay, we're running and we're doing experiments, we're making observations, we're getting these samples. And then from these samples, we're creating these intervals. Now, does the interval work? Yes or no? That's the true point of this, is it's yes or no. Does the interval capture the true proportion? And if I say I'm a 95% confident, then people know that that means, okay, so what this statistician is telling us is that if they did this 100 times, 95 times it captures it and 5 times it doesn't. Now, whether it does or doesn't, we don't know. Now, if we actually know the true population proportion, then we wouldn't be doing all this. But we can't find it. So this way we know that maybe I did get a bad interval. You know, maybe I did all my statistical inferencing, and this was my interval, okay? And that's the interval that I publish. Well, by me saying I'm 95% confident, that's going to let people know that there is that 5 out of 20, or 1 out of 20, or 5 out of 100, that maybe that's the one that didn't, okay? So that's why it's important to understand the vocabulary and the meaning. I could try to make another video also if this one does not help, but I really encourage you to kind of read through the textbook and give it some thought, and I could try to find some other videos also, or I could try to make another one too. So I hope this is helpful, and thank you so much for trying. Have a great day.